to our Veterans Day program. I am Trinity Beats, the SHS Student Council President, and I will be the MC for this program. Thank you very much for attending our program. When Francis Scott Key wrote The Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, American soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 6,500,000 American service members who died in a battle or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today. These words are inscribed on the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. Those words apply equally to many of our World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, and Gulf War veterans as well. They apply to today's active duty service members, tomorrow's veterans, who are helping to maintain peace throughout the world. Today it is our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it. Today we celebrate America's veterans. We're keeping this nation the land of the free and the home of the brave. Would all veterans in attendance please rise if able to be recognized. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your service. Please stay standing while you receive a rose. Now, if able, please rise and remove cover for the poster of the colors by the VFW American Legion Color. Immediately following the presentation of the colors, the SHS band will perform the national anthem.
Colors, halt. Rifles, halt. Left, face. Order, arms. seats. Colors, attention. Preset, arms. Order, arms.
Thank you to the color guard and the band. Sean Whitwood will now read the poem on Veterans Day by Joanna Briggs.
Squad, take seats.
We were here at home, they traveled land and sea, to make sure we were safe, to protect the city district. Those are not enough to give them what they did. On Veterans Day, please thank them for their service to you. On Veterans Day, veterans.
Thank you, Sean. The SHS Band will now perform America, arranged by Bob Cotter. The band is being directed by Mr. Brad Jacobson. Thank you, band. Hope Sarah will now read the poem, The Noble and the Brave, Americans Day Tribute by Joanna Briggs.
The noble and the Brave, a Veterans Day tribute. When America had an urgent need, those brave ones raised their hand. No hesitation held them back. They were proud to take a stand. They left their friends and family. They gave up normal life to serve their country and their God. They plowed into strife. They fought for freedom and for peace on strange and foreign shores. Some lost their friends, some lost their lives in long and brutal wars. Other veterans answered the call to support ones who fought. Their country had requirements for the essential skills they brought. We salute every one of them, the noble and the brave, the ones who are still with us today and the ones who rest in a grave. So here's to our country's heroes, the God above the rest, to give an honor that is due to our country's very breast, our Joanna Weeks.
Jenny Stark will now read her Voice of Democracy essay from last year.
What are the greatest attributes of our democracy? Democracy is and has always been a government by the people, for the people. The United States implemented a system of checks and balances to ensure that no one group of people has more power over the other. One of the most important attributes of our democracy is that anyone over the age of 18 who is a United States citizen can vote. Our military and the veterans that serve in it actively fight to keep our country free. Participation in our government has always been an important way to keep people involved and give them a say in what happens in their lives. The greatest aspects and attributes of our democracy are not limited to, but include, the right to vote, our military, participation in our government, and the system of checks and balances. The right to vote has always been a great way to give people a say in how their government is run. The first people to gain the right to vote were white landowners. Later on in our history, black men were granted the right to vote following the 15th Amendment. The right to vote came quite a while later for women. Women were not granted the right to vote until 1920, following the ratification of the 19th Amendment. There were many women at the forefront of the suffrage movement who had just wanted to have a say in their government, and many women today thank them. Although the 15th Amendment was passed following the Civil War, Native Americans were not granted the right to vote until 1924 following the Snyder Act. Even though many people were not granted the right to vote until later on in our history, they're still very grateful for the opportunity to have a say in their government. The military is one of the strongest parts of our democracy. They fight for our freedom every day. Veterans put their lives on the line to save ours daily. If we did not have the military, this country would look very different. Veterans are some of the most selfless people I have ever met. Veterans embody courage, resilience, and patriotism, having dedicated themselves to protecting the value and freedoms of their nation. Our military gives us the opportunity to live as we want. As a society, it's important to honor their contributions and ensure that they receive the care and respect they deserve for their selfless service. One way the United States can keep everyone involved in government is by allowing them to participate in their government. Citizens of the U.S. have many rights that other countries don't grant their citizens. The United States gives people the right to vote, which means they can elect officials who represent them in local, state, and federal government. Citizens of the U.S. also have the opportunity to run for elected offices. The United States tries to get people involved so that they have a say in what happens in their government. The system of checks and balances has been used for many years to make sure that no one part of the government has more power than the others. The U.S. government is split into three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. The legislative branch is Congress. The executive branch is the president and their cabinet. The judicial branch is the Supreme Court. An example of how the system works is when a bill is proposed, Congress has to first approve it, then the president can either approve it and the bill is sent to the Supreme Court to determine if it is constitutional, or the president can veto the bill and the bill is then sent back to Congress. The only way that the bill can be approved is if Congress passes it with a 2/3 vote. The system of checks and balances helps make sure that the U.S. does not force its citizens to be subjected to a corrupt government. Democracy in the U.S. has many great attributes. The right to vote has always been one thing that many countries have admired about the U.S. Our military actively fights for us every day. Participation in the U.S. government gives everyone an equal chance to voice their opinions about our government and how it affects their lives. The system of checks and balances was one of the greatest ideas that our founding fathers ever had. The idea that our democracy is for the people, by the people, is only further reiterated by these attributes. Many people think that the greatest attributes of our democracy are limited, but all they need to do is look a little further, and they will soon find that the options are endless.
Thank you, Jenny. Mr. Brunke will now share a message with us.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. In my opinion, there is no greater calling than to serve in the defense of our country. We are here today to honor those who made the personal sacrifice to do their part in defending this great nation we all live in. There have been several members, past and present, of the Scotland community who have served or are currently serving in one of the branches of the armed forces. As former President John F. Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country." All of us here today have the privilege of living in the greatest nation on earth. We should never take that for granted. So with that thought in mind, you should ask yourself, as I have done, what can I do for my country? That can take the form of many different things, whether it be to join the military, law enforcement, being a firefighter, being a farmer, or maybe even becoming a teacher. The bottom line is be a giver. For my part, I joined the South Dakota Army National Guard back in 1983. And I was a member of Charlie Battery, 1st Battalion, 147th Field Artillery, stationed in Yankton. I retired from the National Guard in 2005 after serving for 22 years. For the first 12 years, our battalion was an M109 howitzer unit, and after that point, our battalion became a M270 multiple launch rocket system, or MLRS battalion. I have a couple of videos today showing those two weapon systems during a live fire exercise. The first video shows some of the process of what is called a fire mission. It illustrates the FDC, or Fire Direction Control section. That was the section I was a part of for most of my National Guard career. The FDC coordinated the firing of the mission and basically told the gun what type of round to shoot, where to point the gun, how much powder to use, and when to fire. The FDC also served many other functions within the battery. The second video shows an MLRS launcher during live fire. I continued in the FDC when we became an MLRS unit before moving up to being a platoon sergeant and a first sergeant. Let's take a look at these videos.
Staff Sergeant Tyler Evans, with Thunder Battery, 1st 109 Field Artillery. We are at Fort Union Gap, Pennsylvania. Right now we're sitting on firing point Charlie 47, doing our Table 6 qualifications. The battalion crew is made up of 4 people. The gun chief, his gunner, the number 1 man, and then you have an E4 below as the driver. Fire mission is received from 13 boxes. They then send their data to FDC, the Fire Directions Control.
Gun 3, anybody come in, 1 round, training.
And they're the ones that actually send the mission to us on the gun. Everybody else fire mission, the driver will then rev up the gun. The number 1 man will pick up the round, put it on the tray, It goes into the tube. The number one man will ram it with the hydraulic rammer. The gunner then will grab the column, go in the tube behind the round, and then we'll close the breech. Chief will then lay the gun, tell the number one man to prime. Once they're primed, I'll tell him to hook up. He hooks up. One last verification, and he tells his number one man to stand by and fire. If it's just a one-round fire mission, they can get that out in like less than 60 seconds.
As we all know, every soldier goes through basic training at the beginning of their military career. Basic training was certainly one of the most difficult things I've ever done, but have never regretted. I am sure all of our veterans here today can remember some basic training stories from their past. One I certainly remember is one morning when our platoon's drill sergeant got up in front of us at 4:30 a.m. PT formation. Just in case you're wondering, PT stands for physical training. And he said, "Today is my birthday, so we are going to start PT today with log drills." Log drills was basically where 4 or 5 of us took a shortened electrical pole, like you see on the side of the road, raised it up above our heads, held it up, and lowered it many times at the command of the drill sergeant. Needless to say, that pushed us to the limit. In closing, all of our veterans, both the ones that are here today and the ones that are not, have done their part to answer President Kennedy's call. What can you do for your country? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brumke. Grace Vitek will now read the poem, "We Owe Them a Lot" by Joanna Fuchs.
On Veterans Day, we remember again our men and women who served. We honor them now for what they did then, the liberties they preserved. Let's never forget their sacrifice, the hard, heavy work they have done. They did what was asked, crucial needs they fulfilled with a telephone, pencil, or gun. We're happy and proud to honor them. They gave so much more than they got. Our heroes, our veterans, kept freedom safe. We owe them a lot.
Thank you, Grace. The 5th grade class would now like to sing a song for our veterans.
your service. You're so strong. You're so strong. We remember, on this day, fighting for our freedom, we thank you.
As a thank you to the veterans, I'm just going to have the kids, as they walk back to their seat, I'm just going to say their first name, so that might answer some of your questions. Grace Meyer, Adrian Fuchs, Peyton Runyon, Davey Striley, Walter Manis, Emerson Vera, Hayden Pierce, Ryan Biss. Okay, I'm not done embarrassing them. They didn't know I was going to do this. But I had several veterans ask me, like, who's this girl? Or who's Avery? Who's this Grace? So, anyway, our next was Patricia Bierman, Rayleigh Lansdowne, Mia Jenkins, Lauren Byerly, Monica Samian, Elsie Pavel, Riley Wallach, Wyatt Muff, Owen Beaver, and Asher Malkoff. Good job, Linda.
Thank you, good grade. Emily DeVore will now read the poem, The Best on Earth, by Joanna Fuchs.
If someone has done military service, they earn the title veteran and more. They earn our deep respect and admiration, that they are special, no one can ignore. They sacrifice the comforts we enjoy. The list is long of all the things they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They are loyal, dedicated, true, and brave. When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us that they could handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who serve in uniform. Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional, no other group can compare. We're grateful for the many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and our prayers. We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they're worth. These men and women serve us and our country, our veterans, the very best on earth.
Thank you, Emily. At this time, the elementary is going to be dismissed. the Student Council would like to thank the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade classes and teachers for making cards for our veterans. We would also like to thank Steve Henry and Sam Halverson for all your help in getting ready for the program. Thank you also to Mr. Jacobson and the band, and all your students for your music. Thank you to Jenny for reading the Voice of Democracy essay. Thank you to the student council members, Sean, Emily, Grace, and Hope for reading poems. Thank you to Flowers and More for donating the roses that were given to the veterans. Thank you to our veterans for your service and for attending our program. I would now like to introduce Legion Commander Paul Weidenbach. After he has finished speaking with us, we will follow the color guard outside for a gun salute and taps. At the conclusion of the gun salute and taps, we will return to classes. Legion Commander Paul Weidenbach.
I asked for a few minutes this morning to basically talk to the students. What I hold in my hand is a blank. It's a 30-06 blank that we shoot in our M1 Garand ceremonial rifles. Rifles are equipped with a blank adapter in front of them, so nothing comes out of that rifle but air. As you can see, there is no bullet on the tip of this shell. All that is in here is primer in the bottom, powder, crimped, so nothing comes out of here but air. The reason I am doing this is to expel the fear that some of you may have when you see us in the Memorial Day program or today's Veterans Day program. The only thing that these rifles do is fire this blank and make a loud bang. So I'm just to reassure you that nothing comes out of that barrel, nothing can hurt you. As I said, they have a blank adapter on the front that prevents that only air can come out of. If you were to put a live shell in that chamber and fire it, that rifle would explode and more than likely kill the person that pulled the trigger. So just want to emphasize again that you have no reason to be afraid or hesitant when you see veterans in a program such as today, that they're going to hurt you in any such way. As Mr. Brunke said, we all took an oath when we went into the military. And that oath was to protect and preserve the United States and the citizens of the United States. And you, the young people of the community, are our most precious gift. And we would do anything as veterans to preserve that gift that you are. I was also asked to announce that after the program, the public is invited down to the VFW for lunch, which starts at 11 p.m. Also, we're going to do something a little different today, out of tradition from what we normally do, which is our tradition, which is firing in the school. We've been asked to do it outside by the flagpole. So if you guys would get up after the color guard and the firing squad, as we march out to around the flagpole, if you guys were to get up in an orderly manner, follow us out. The public also is encouraged to come and follow us out around the flagpole. We will wait until you're all there, and we'll do the firing squad and the taps for deceased veterans. Thank you. Also, just as a public courtesy, downtown by the City Hall, there's the cannon and there's a Veterans Memorial. It's been reported that there's been some mischief done around the memorial, the benches and that stone. If you guys would be so kind as to respect that, we sure would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Right shoulder arms. Right face. Color guard. Forward. March.